You probably heard this one before, right? That famous science fact that says bumblebees shouldn't be able to fly. You know, that according to the laws of aerodynamics, they're just impossible. It's a great story, nature thumbing its nose at our math. But is there any truth to it? Well, today we're going to dig in and find out what's really going on with the bee's amazing flight. So, the whole paradox, the whole myth, it all boils down to a pretty simple calculation from way back when. The story goes that if you look at a bee's fuzzy, kind of heavy body, and then you look at its tiny little wings, well, the math just doesn't work. The numbers say there's no way it should ever get off the ground.
And this is the punchline. This is the part of the story everyone loves. It's such a great thought, right? That nature just does its thing, completely ignoring what we humans think we know. It makes for a fantastic tale. But you know what? The actual truth is way, way cooler than the myth.
So to get to the bottom of this, we really have to rewind the clock. Where did this idea even start? I mean, it's so specific and it's been around forever. Turns out, it all began with what was basically a conversation over drinks and some back-of-the-napkin math.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing how this all kicked off. So the story goes sometime back in the 1930s, a biologist and an aerodynamicist are having a chat. The engineer, whose whole world is airplanes, does some quick calculations on the bee, and based on his understanding of flight, he says, nope, can't be done. Wings are too small for that body. And boom, just like that, a science legend is born.
But here's the absolute key to this whole thing. The entire calculation was built on completely flawed assumptions. I mean, look at this list. The engineer basically treated the bee's wing like it was a tiny little airplane wing, rigid, flat, moving through smooth air. But we've all seen a bee. We know that's not what's happening at all. Their flight is messy, it's powerful, and it is anything but steady.
And that right there, that gets us to the very heart of the mistake. See, the early scientists weren't wrong about physics itself. They were just using the wrong physics for the job. They were comparing a 747 to a bumblebee, and it's a totally different ballgame. Think about it like this. Over on the left, you've got your standard airplane flight. It needs a fixed wing and smooth, steady airflow to generate lift. That was the myth's logic. But on the right, that's the bee's world. We're talking dynamic, flapping wings that create total chaos in the air, all these powerful swirls. They're playing two completely different aerodynamic sports.
All right, so now that we've busted the myth, we can get to the really awesome part. How bees actually fly. And let me tell you, the aerodynamic tricks they pull off are so much more clever and complex than what an airplane does.
So what's the big secret? It all comes down to speed, pure, incredible speed. That number right there, 200? A honeybee flaps its tiny wings about 200 times, every single second. That unbelievable velocity is the engine behind their entire flight system.
And that super fast flapping isn't just a simple up and down motion. Oh no, the wings are actually tracing this complex figure-8 pattern. This twisting, sweeping movement is absolutely crucial. It slices through the air and whips up these tiny, powerful swirls, almost like little tornadoes on top of the wings. And those swirls, called vortices, are what generate all the massive lift the bee needs.
And there's a name for this trick. It's called a leading edge vortex. This is the bee's secret weapon. Basically, as the wing flaps forward, it creates this little swirling pocket of low-pressure air that actually sticks to the top of the wing for a split second. That vortex literally sucks the wing upwards, creating a huge burst of lift. And then they do it again and again, 200 times a second.
Okay, so we've gone through the origin of the myth, we've talked about the flawed logic, and we've dived into the real mind-blowing science. Let's circle all the way back and give a final verdict on that very first question.
And there you have it. The verdict could not be clearer. Bees don't break the laws of physics, not even a little bit. They're absolute masters of a very complex, very dynamic form of physics. The problem was never with the bee. It was with us trying to apply a simple model to something that is wonderfully complex.
And I think that's the real takeaway here. It's a great lesson in scientific humility. The bee flight paradox is a perfect reminder that nature is just unbelievably sophisticated. And when our theories don't quite match up with what we see, it's not nature that's wrong. It just means our understanding has some catching up to do.
It kind of makes you look at the world a little differently, doesn't it? Makes you wonder what other everyday miracles are out there, just hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone to look a little closer and figure out the secret. Something to think about. Thanks for joining me for this one.